Now, as I mentioned, as people with ADHD grow up, we begin to see that they engage in more risky sexual behavior with other people. They don't have more sexual disorders than others, but they are more likely to start having sex with other people earlier and to change partners more often during their lifetime, as well as to spend less time with each partner. Most importantly, they're more likely not to use contraception when they are engaged in these sexual encounters. So, of course, all of this leads to several downstream risks that are elevated because of risky sex. One of them, of course, is an increased likelihood of having a teenage pregnancy or bearing children at a younger age. And you can see here that between 24 and 38% of teens with ADHD have had a pregnancy before 19 years of age, and many of these have gone on to have children from these pregnancies. Also, there is a greater likelihood that the individuals are going to be exposed to and contract a sexually transmitted disease because of their inability or unwillingness to use contraception during these sexual encounters. So in general, what we see is a pattern of greater risky sexual activity leading to the sort of consequences that you would imagine from that kind of impulsive and heedless sexual behavior. Now, on the next slide, we're going to see that I think there are some significant implications of these findings for families. First, I think that parents need to counsel their teenagers as they become sexually active about these risks, and also have their primary care provider speak with the teenager about them. There may be a greater need for supervision of the teen's dating activities with others, perhaps delaying couples dating and allowing the individual simply to date in larger groups of individuals than you would experience in a typical family. So various ways of trying to supervise and reduce the likelihood that sexual behavior with others is going to take place. And then, of course, there is the possibility of using contraception with the individual, and that could reduce the likelihood of these teenage pregnancies. And then continuing to use medication during adolescence might help reduce these consequences. We don't know that yet because no one's done a study of the effects of medication on this pattern of risky sexual behavior, but it makes sense that it might help by reducing their problems with impulsiveness. And then I have begun recommending that families begin to have their children immunized for the HPV or human papillovirus. These immunizations are available now for both boys and girls, and getting immunized might help reduce the long-term risks for various cancers, including cervical cancer in women, which we know is linked to a chronic pattern of these kinds of risky sexual activities.